Johnny, you've been facing cancer for a number of years now. How are you feeling now?
I was technically in remission before I went to America. I came off my treatment. I had two lots of 6-month chemotherapy. I came off in February, 8 months ago, and I was in remission. But coming back now from America, we have a bit of activity down there. So the next 3 or 4 months, I have to monitor it very carefully. It's a sharp left turn in one's life.
Yeah.
And I think for my family initially and myself, it was a very big shock. We spoke a lot about it, and in a way, I was lucky. We caught it at a reasonably good level, but it's a very aggressive cancer. So I have blood tests constantly, just monitoring and keeping it going. And that's why, in fact, I said to Roddy when I came off chemo in February, I said to my management, I'm feeling strong now, and we don't know. Nobody is the king of time.
Yes.
We don't know whether we are going to be able to do this next year or the year after. So while I'm still here, I'll do a new album. I'll do a worldwide tour, which will take me into about June 2018, and say farewell to my public, to the people who supported me, and in certain cities as well where I played, which were very supportive. So I didn't want to do a huge tour in America, because I thought, if I do a 10-week tour, I'm going to really, mess up things physically. But just the 3 weeks I did started something off. So when I came back about a month ago, my blood level count was up. So it's a management thing. And I don't know, I don't know what the outcome will be. Some people carry on for 5 years, some for 8, some don't make it, and I've managed to be going. We're doing now. It was April 2015 up until the current time, 2015 till now, which is December 2017. So it's I'm out of that very, very dark corridor.
Johnny, you've spoken about your admiration for the perseverance and determination of rural Zulu people, and you've immersed yourself in that culture.
Yes.
What has that culture given you back as you deal with something like this?
It's wonderful. I get phoned by dance leaders, all my age mates who are, over the age of 60 and who are now retired, and they hear on the grapevine that this is, I have this affliction, and they say, which means, be firm, brother. The emaciated ox can still plow.
Okay.
It will still pull the plow. So there are a lot of aphorisms and support, and it comes from a warrior value system. And so I've it's been very, very supportive, and it's a different worldview on life. Life is hard. Life, you don't get what you deserve. You don't, you have to understand that these things will afflict everybody at some time, and so it's not about why me. It's really about how can I get around this? How can I find a way through this?
Because it's always me in that world at some point.
Yes. Yeah. So it has been very, very. There's a Zulu saying which I used in a song. The grey dead grass can only be made green and fresh and new if you burn it. And so they will say it in the hostels, just say you came home from a party, or you got off a train and you weren't careful and somebody pickpocketed your wallet. They'll say to you, which I know blade. You were like dry grass. You were fast asleep. And it's taken this to wake you up. Now, every time you're on the train, you will be awake and new and green, like a green shoot of grass. And you will be aware of your surroundings. So the misfortunes of life have hidden lessons. And those hidden lessons are valuable. And even in what I'm going through now, I'm discovering things, meanings and things that were important to me before have slowly, dissipated. I'm far more interested in good conversation, day to day, a good book, just being appreciative of the things I have. Although nobody can see when I'm on stage, I have terrible neuropathy. All the nerves in my feet the nerve endings are deadened by the chemotherapy, and so my feet just start burning like hot coals. After like 5 or 15 minutes, and I'm on stage for 2 hours. So it's a mental thing. And Sipho says to me before the show, he says, "Remember," in Zulu, he says to me, "Remember, it's better to have burning feet than no feet at all." It just makes me smile.
Yes, how can you not?
It's so funny, And so we get through the shows. It is what it is.
Johnny, you're a man of many parts, as we all are. You have strong Jewish roots without necessarily being religious, but has any part of that helped you in this time?
I'm not a religious person. I'm an agnostic atheist. I've read up on many different kinds of Orthodox religions, and I haven't really found anything that interests me. I understand the spiritual yearning of wanting to connect with something greater than oneself. I recognize that as an innate human drive, but it expresses itself in art, it expresses itself in different ways. It finds, if it can't get there that way, it comes out in another way, as all things do. So I don't. There's a lot of very clever proverbs and sayings and observations in the Bible about human behavior, and as a history book of how people behave, it's a fantastic document. But you can't be a social anthropologist in a way, and because we deconstruct religions as belief systems and see how they operate, whether it's ancestor worship or animism or Christianity or various derivations of it. So when you bring that intellectual force, scientific, you realize that there's a point at which you just have to believe. And that's the end of it, you can't. And I've never really ever got to that point. Identity has been a very, very interesting part of my life. My father was English, my mother was Jewish, and I fell in love with through Zulu music. And these three have kind of swirled around inside me, and they've never really reconciled, and they pop up at different moments, and I'm old enough now to realize, okay, that's that part of me reacting now, So, and I think that is what the new identities will be as the world globalizes. We will all have multiple identities. This idea of being a Zulu is no longer, or a Jewish person, is not going to be an overwhelming identity. We're going to have sub-identities, and we're going to have identities which are economic and political, and which form this very interesting paradoxical internal relationship. And so it's a very interesting time. And so I'm writing my autobiography now, and the issue of identity, I deal with it very, very, very strongly.
Being faced as profoundly as you have been with your own mortality, has that changed the way you've perhaps sung certain songs? Because you've written about death and loss, but as it's happened to other people, do you bring new meaning to those songs as you bring them to the stage?
Yes, I do. Jesse wrote a song for me for us to sing together as a duo, as a duet. And when we sing that together on stage, it's a very, very emotional thing for me. Every time that we sing that song together. I wrote a song for him 29 years ago, The Cruel, Crazy, Beautiful World, which was for him when he was born, to say, yes, this is what you're born into, this is what you're going to have to deal with.
And you were right.
Yes. And then when we recorded my new album, King of Time, he, in the middle of recording, said, Dad, I've written this song. Would you like to write a few lines? So I just penned a few lines, but he wrote the melodies and put the thing together, and then we recorded it. And it's a very, very special song for me. And then songs like The Crossing, which I wrote for Dudu when he was assassinated during the political violence in 1992. When we sing that, it brings him closer, and it brings that reality closer for me, and enables me to deal with it, confront it and face it. Even Asimbonanga has got moments of that. And I think from my writing perspective, I grew up in a country that was fragmented by apartheid. And the idea of being fragmented has been a key thread through all my writing, for the search for wholeness and to be complete.
Yes.
How do we complete ourselves as individuals when the nation is not complete and the country is incomplete? How can we live fragmented? So all of my songs have that metaphor in right through. It's a very powerful golden thread. Dela. It's a yearning to be connected to something bigger than yourself, which will give you nourishment.